This machine comes with a plethora of decorative stitches, 90% of which I can guarantee you'll never use in your life. It includes 15 buttonholes, which are really useful, but the key features that, for me anyway, are certainly the programmable foot. So you can cut stitches by using the heel of your foot. You can sew fabric and turn corners with the foot lifting up and the needle still being down without actually lifting a lever up, and keeping your hands on your project and just keeping that steady. I'm here to show you some of those key features and how easy they are to learn, and then you can decide for yourself whether you need them in your life, yes you do, or whether you don't. So let's get on with the review. The DX7 comes with loads of decorative stitches which are all on the flip up lid. And I thought I would just show you what the lettering's like. So it comes with about 5 pre-programmed words, which I'll come to in a moment. But if you wanted to spell out a name, I thought I would just show you what the sort of letters look like when they're stitched out. So you want to select the ABC button, so that's your pattern button. And then up here is your menu. Now, as you can see, the top right-hand arrow indicates that there is more than one menu screen. So I wanted to go with just the normal letters. You've got more of an italic style of lettering, and then you've got some here with some numbers as well, and I think that will then take, if I keep going right, it will take you back to the original screen. Yes, it does. So I'm just going to select a regular ABC pattern, so I'll press OK. This tells me that I need my foot that I need, so it says I, so it's actually, I think it's like an embroidery foot. I have already put that on, which is the clear foot. That comes with this DX7, so you already have that with the machine. I'm just going to do my name. And so each of these numbers, it's like an old telephone where you then have to just tap the button multiple times to get the letters that you want. So I'm just going to put my name in here. If you find that you've pressed the wrong button, you can then go back and then delete that one. So I'm just going to quickly press that and then OK. You can put a symbol in, or like a heart or a little picture motif at the beginning and at the end. Just want to do letters, so I'm going to do foot down, needle down. I haven't plugged my foot pedal in because it means I can use the hands-free function, and so when I press the start button, it will automatically start stitching. When I press the stop button, well, you'll see I don't need to press the stop button. So this has automatically stopped. So I just need to press to trim my threads, and it has raised the presser foot, and so I can take this out and show you. So here, so it does have trailing threads in between each of those letters, which you can then trim. You might just need to get a seam ripper just to pick up the little stitch there, and then just trim it with a pair of scissors. So, I mean, it's not fantastic, but let me show you one of the pre-programmed words. I don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to cancel out of that. You can delete, or you could just press your regular button, which will then take you back to your original screen. What I want to do is do the handmade option, so which is actually from the under the crescent menu. So I'm going to select the moon here, and then it's actually stitch number 47. And hit OK. So here we go, handmade. I'm just going to do the same again. So we have foot down, needle down. Again, I'm doing hands free. So I trim my threads. Again, it raises the presser foot, and this is how it comes out. Now, I think that is really nice and neat. If you compare that to when you do your own lettering, I mean, obviously that isn't like in an italic or anything, that is a basic, but certainly that pre-programmed one, I think that looks really nice. Now, I've just done this on muslin, which has just been doubled over. So I have not stabilised it. There's no interfacing or anything. It's really neat on the back there. And I think if you're putting that on an item that you made for somebody, in a bag or a garment, perhaps make your own label to put in, that is a really nice stitch. It's a really nice stitch option to have. I'm still in this function here. You can see the moon shaped with stitch foot eye and with the handmade. I'm done with that now. So I think I'll probably just go and press the original main menu. And do I want to get rid of it? You can. This machine will save, I think, up to 10 patterns. So you could if you want to, but obviously that's just a pre-programmed name. So but if you typed up your own name, you can store, I think, up to 10. I'm just going to change the foot over. So you just press at the back there and it comes out. It comes with all various feet. This lifts out and you have your buttonhole foot in there. One thing I wanted to show you with the buttonhole attachment, actually, let me just put the buttonhole foot on. So I'll take the straight stitch foot off. So with your buttonhole foot, you have to plug it into the side of the machine. So this attaches in the way that most regular automatic buttonhole foots attach. So you still have your bar there. This one differs slightly because it has this little clamping plate. Now, it's designed for flimsy fabrics that you then clamp it in between and it holds it quite sturdy. To be honest with you, I have sewn something viscose and it was a bit of a nightmare and it didn't really give it proper grip because it was very thin fabric and I just didn't like it, so I actually shook it off. So this literally just pops off and then it will just sit. You've got like these sort of rubber grips and I found I got a lot better grip with that. So I'll just show you. So you want to just attach it here. So there, I've just put it down and then up so I could get the thread through the hole. And then round the side you'll see that there's a symbol here. You need to plug this in and really push it in, because if you don't hear that click, it won't engage the buttonhole foot and you won't, the machine won't let you actually put any buttonhole functions on. So if you want to sew a buttonhole, you'll need to go to the 1, 2, 3 menu. It's up here, and then you'll see you have the option here for a buttonhole foot. You can then select different buttonholes. This one here has the curved one at the bottom, or you could do number 10, which is more of an oval one. So there are 15 buttonhole settings and they will use foot E, which is your buttonhole foot. You cannot do anything else really if you've got this foot. So for instance, I had option 47, which was the handmade. That will not sew with the buttonhole foot. I need to put foot I in and it's overridden the fact that I'm doing buttonholes. So let's just delete that and go back. So option 1, 2, 3, buttonhole foot, and then this is just your normal buttonhole foot. And let's just sew a buttonhole actually. Now, as I haven't inserted a button into the back of the foot, this has stitched the largest buttonhole. Now, there are options on the machine where you can then increase or decrease that allowance. So that gap in the middle of the buttonhole, you can make it bigger or smaller. It's set to a standard width, but you can adjust that slightly. So you could have a really narrow, if you have like shell buttons or something which are really thin, you wouldn't want a big opening because then they would keep coming, the buttons would come undone. So you have got that option there. So as you can see, like I said, that is just muslin, doubled over, no stabiliser, no interfacing, that's the back of it. And I just find by taking this plate off, I find that you don't really need it. Perhaps you do if you're doing a silk or something and I just haven't used the right fabrics, but for me, I would just use it on as it is. Here are your main function buttons. You'll probably find that for most things you'll just use your straight stitch and these buttons on here. Obviously additional stitches are up here. So these are the sort of main functions where they've got the sort of fancy bits and pieces on. So this one here is your top one here, and you'll see if I press it once you've got like a forward, a back, and then a pair of scissors. If I press it again you've just got an arrow and a pair of scissors. Press it again and it comes off. What this means is you press this once, the machine, when you start sewing, the machine will sew forward 3 stitches, back 3 stitches, and then carry on. If you then press once you're getting near the end of your project, if you press the reverse button here, it will then do 3 stitches in reverse, 3 stitches forward, and then trim your threads. It secures the threads at either end. If you didn't want that and you just wanted to secure your stitching at the end of when you finish sewing, press this one so you only have the one sort of arrow and the pair of scissors, and then it will start stitching as normal. And when you get near the end of your line of stitching, again press this reverse button once and it will do 3 stitches in reverse, 3 forward, and trim your threads. And it's something you can have, and so you can just have that on, and every time you sew that will happen. If you don't want that, just take that off and then you can hit reverse. You've got the reverse button, you've got the locking stitch here, and so you can do those manually. Oh, I've pressed a button which I didn't mean to press. So you can just do them automatically. So when you want to, but this one has it so you could program it. This second button down here, you can see this here, and this is the floating foot function. If you're sewing say like a fabric like velvet or anything thick, you don't want your foot to squash the fabric and then it bunches up. So the floating foot function raises the foot pedal and just lightly floats over the top of it. And there is an option on the tool setting, I think, where you can then alter the height of the floating foot. I think it's in the tools option. Let me just see if I can find it. This one here. So this button here means you can, so if I just press, so this is what it's set to. So you can go up to 2.5 mil, I think that probably is. And that is the highest that you can get the foot to go, because obviously if it's like, you can't sew with the foot completely up because then the fabric and everything would slide away. So if you had a really thin fabric and you didn't want the presser foot up so high, you can then decrease that. So 1.7, that is obviously the default setting, but you can then, there is the option to change that in the function here. So this one's the floating foot. This one here sets the presser foot height when you use the pivot function. So let me just press OK on that one. So this one here, you can just, again, you can check what height that you want the presser foot to go on a regular basis. And this one up here, this one is set for the presser foot. So when you stop sewing, the needle is down and the presser foot goes up, so then you can pivot your fabric, especially if you're doing like quilting or something, or anything you're going around a corner or stitching on a curve. It's quite handy if you want your hands on the fabric to turn. You can then do that. You haven't got to lift the foot up and slowly move it around. And then this one here, this is the things you can program your foot pedal to do. So I have programmed it with the scissors, so when I press the heel of the presser foot, it will trim my threads. You can switch it to off so it doesn't do anything. So if you're worried or you might find it a bit perhaps uncomfortable, I'm okay with it, but it can be take a little bit getting used to. You might want to just switch it off and just have it as a regular foot. You can also program, so if you use the heel of your foot, you can have it to do a reverse stitch, a locking stitch. You could do needle up, needle down. So there's lots of things you can do. You can have it so the presser foot goes down. So like I said, I have it programmed just trim threads, and I find that really easy to use. You also have, if I can just pan out, this button here, I haven't got it in yet, but you've got a needle, so this little hole here is to insert a knee lift. So it comes down and then you can use your knee to press the lever, which will then lift the foot up and down. To be honest, I don't use that option because it's not very comfortable for the height of my desk. And I think my table's perhaps a bit too high. These buttons here, so the top one I've already run through, where you can do your reverse and your forward stitches. You've got your floating foot option, so press that and automatically the foot will then sort of float above your fabric. This one here is a continuous pattern, so if you're doing a decorative stitch and you wanted to do hearts, for instance, rather than just do one lot of hearts, if you press that button it will just keep going and going and going until you stop. This one here is the mirror image button, so for anything you want to flip in reverse, press that and then you'll be able to do that. This is your tools button, that's where you've got all your settings for the different heights and the programmable foot, that kind of thing. This is the folder button, this is where you save your patterns. The DX7, you get these dials, so you've got the stitch width and you've got the stitch length, and you can just turn these dials and then it's done. You haven't got to then put numbers in or anything else. Press that back to this one here is like your home screen button. Press that and everything will go back. Certain things are a default function, so for instance when you sew on a straight stitch, when you come to stop, that will the presser foot will rise up. When you trim your threads, the presser foot will go up. That comes as a standard, which is actually I find really handy to do. So needle up, foot up. You have to sort of get used to the order of things on here. Foot down, needle down. Let me just plug the foot in because I haven't put that in. So this is the foot here. So this is where your toe goes, and the bit at the end with your heel, that's how I trim my threads. I want to show you the foot. Excuse these cables because they are my lights that I've just got going on. So I'm just going to show you. So this is the position I leave my foot in. So I'm just going to start sewing. And then when I'm done, that's all I do, and then it has trimmed my threads. This machine comes in at £1,575. You'll find the Juki is not really on offer, so it's sort of that price everywhere, but it is worth going to an independent if you want to have and ask them if they can do you some kind of special deal. I managed to get £50 off my machine and some store credit, and that was because I asked. I think if I hadn't have asked, I would have had to just pay that full price. So it is well worth maybe being a bit cheeky if you can buy it on that day and say, okay, if I take it home, if I buy this now and take it home, what can you do for me? Don't forget to check out my unboxing video if you want all the details of what you actually get inside this box in this video here.